Want to capture stunning shots of a solar eclipse without getting lost in lengthy tutorials? Look no further. In this concise video, we're diving straight into the essentials. A total solar eclipse gives you only a few minutes to capture everything from Bailey's beads to totality. In this video, I'll show you how to prepare your camera, capture practical starting settings, and move safely between each phase without missing the event. Whether you're using a phone, camera, or telescope, the goal is the same. Prepare your equipment, simplify your workflow, and come away with great images while still experiencing the eclipse. The total solar eclipse on the 12th of August 2026 will cross parts of the Arctic, Greenland, Iceland, and Spain. A much wider region, including much of Europe and parts of North America and Africa, will experience a partial eclipse. Maximum totality is approximately 2 minutes and 18 seconds, although the duration at your location may be considerably shorter. Check for the exact contact times, sun altitude, and direction of your chosen location. For this eclipse, location scouting is especially important. A clear view towards the sun may be more valuable than gaining a few extra seconds of totality. In parts of Ireland and Spain, the sun will be relatively low, so check for hills, buildings, trees, and other obstacles before you're choosing your position. Okay, so grab your camera gear and let's snap into it. Before discussing camera settings, establish whether your setup is safe for both you and your equipment. Your solar filter must be designed specifically for solar viewing, made by a reputable manufacturer meeting the ISO standard, and mounted securely over the front of your lens or telescope. It must be free from holes, tears, cracks, and light leaks. The filter remains in place during every partial phase, including the period before totality and the period immediately after totality. Only remove it when the sun is completely covered during totality. As soon as the bright solar surface begins to reappear, replace the filter before continuing to photograph. Before selecting settings, decide what you want to photograph. A wide-angle lens can show the eclipse above a landscape, building, or group of observers. A telephoto lens can record the eclipse sun, prominences, and corona in great detail. A telescope can provide the highest magnification, but it also demands the most accurate focus, tracking, and framing. If this is your first total eclipse, one dependable camera and lens is usually better than a complicated setup. The essential equipment is straightforward. A camera, ideally with manual exposure and manual focus, a suitable lens, a secure front-mounted solar filter, a stable tripod, a remote release or intervalometer, spare batteries and memory cards, and certified solar viewing glasses. Tape can secure the focus ring, while a fluid or geared head can make framing easier. An equatorial tracker is optional, but only use one if you've already understand how to align and operate it. Eclipse Day is not the time to learn a new tracking system or test unfamiliar software. Scout your location in advance and check the direction and altitude of the sun during each phase. Choose a position with an unobstructed view and consider the background if you plan to include the landscape. Check the weather forecast in the days before the eclipse and have a backup location where practical. There are plenty of good apps for this. Most importantly, practice with the exact equipment you intend to use. To this point, record the contact times for your exact location in local time. Write them down rather than relying on your phone during the event. Now let's delve into the recommended exposure settings for each phase of the eclipse. Please note that these settings are based on personal experience and should serve as a guide rather than strict rules. Eclipse conditions can vary, so bracketing exposures is crucial for achieving optimum results. Partial eclipse. During the partial eclipse phase, exposures are similar to shooting the full sun, making it easier to verify and test your settings on the day. There's a significant tolerance for exposure in this phase, but it's still advisable to spend time experimenting with test shots. Start with a 16 f-stop neutral density filter, an aperture of f8, a shutter speed of 1/800th of a second, and ISO 100. Bracket your exposure by at least 1 f-stop to ensure flexible post-processing. Bailey's beads and prominences. As Bailey's beads occurs for a brief moment, remove any filters and adjust settings accordingly. Set the aperture to f16, a shutter speed of 1/2000th of a second, and an ISO of 100. Brackets your exposure by a minimum of 4 stops to capture the rapidly changing light conditions. Diamond ring. During the diamond ring phase, adjust settings based on your desired outcome. For a strong starburst effect, use a closed aperture like f22, a shutter speed of 1/15th of a second, and an ISO of 100. Brackets your exposure by at least 5 f-stops to accommodate variations in light and preferred exposures. Totality. Totality is the highlight of the Eclipse photography, but exposure settings depend on your photographic goals. To capture the corona without overexposing subtle details, set the aperture to f8, shutter speed to 1/30th of a second, and ISO 100. Bracket your exposure by at least 5 f-stops to cover any variations. In addition, understanding exposure principles, utilizing custom shooting modes on your camera can significantly streamline your Eclipse photography experience. For instance, cameras like the Canon 5D have customizable shooting modes C1, C2, and C3, allowing you to store and quickly access specific camera settings with the turn of a dial. This feature can greatly simplify your workflow in the Eclipse day, reducing the need to constantly adjust settings manually, which is the most challenging aspect of the day. For example, use your standard manual mode for the full to partial portion of the Eclipse, and then Custom 1 for Bailey's beads, chromosphere or prominences, Custom 2 for diamond ring and inner corona, and Custom 3 for medium outer corona and earthshine. As these stages of the Eclipse develop, you can simply switch the dial between the custom modes while your intervalometer is still taking the photos. As the totality is about to end, you can simply reverse the process. Advanced photographers may explore automated software solutions for more precise and frequent adjustments, but caution is advised to avoid disappointments due to incorrect settings. If you haven't photographed an Eclipse before, I wouldn't add the complexity. However, those that master this art can time exposures to the second and ensure they don't exceed the capabilities of their camera. For those looking for other good guides on exposures, you can't go past people like Fred Espenek, Alan Dyer, and Xavier Dubier. By understanding these exposure techniques, utilising custom shooting modes, and practicing with bracketing, you'll be well prepared to capture stunning photos while adapting to changing light conditions throughout the event. Filters. Filters are essential for safely capturing images of the solar eclipse, but they come with their own set of considerations and potential issues. Here's what you need to know about filters and alignment for successful eclipse photography. Filter removal. Quick removal of filters is crucial during the fast-paced moments of the solar eclipse. Unscrewing a filter can be time-consuming, so consider only attaching it with a few turns for fast removal. Alternatively, magnetic filters provide swift removal and reinstallation, ensuring you don't miss crucial moments. Cardboard filters. If you're using cardboard filters, ensure they're securely attached to your lens to prevent any mishaps due to wind. Consider using a tethered string for added security, or opt for a push-on solution for easy attachment and removal. Ensure the filter is flush with your lens to prevent vignetting and light leakage. Filters between lens and sensor. Avoid placing filters between the lens and the sensor, as this can magnify the light and potentially damage your sensor or lenses. The risk of overheating is particularly high in this setup, so it's best to refrain from using this configuration altogether. Solar alignment. With the filter blocking a significant amount of light, aligning your camera to the sun can be challenging. Instead, align your camera using the safety of the screen on the back of your camera, or consider using a solar viewfinder for a more precise alignment. Filter stacking. While it might be tempting to stack multiple neutral density filters you already own, this can significantly impact image quality. Multiple filters can introduce unwanted artifacts and degrade the overall quality of your Eclipse photos. It's best to avoid using multiple filters and instead opt for a single high-quality filter. By being mindful of these filter considerations and alignment techniques, you can ensure a smoother and safer experience while capturing stunning images of the solar eclipse. Remember to prioritize safety and quality when selecting and using filters for your eclipse photography setup. When capturing the mesmerizing beauty of a solar eclipse, achieving sharpness in your image is paramount. While the quality of your lens may play a role, there are several other factors to consider. Motion blur. One of the most prevalent issues, especially when using long focal lengths or slower shutter speeds, is motion blur. Causes include tripod instability, wind-induced vibrations, the Earth's rotation, or unintentional camera movement during exposure. Invest in a sturdy tripod that can support the weight of your camera gear and withstand outdoor conditions. Travel tripods may lack the strength and stability needed for sharp images. Attach a weight, like your camera bag, to the tripod to enhance stability. Be conservative with shutter speed settings to account for any camera shake. Image stabilization. Despite common advice against using image stabilization on a tripod, it has been my experience there is enough tripod shake magnified by the long focal lengths to counter this issue. Leave it on unless you notice significant issues in your pre-testing. Unintentional camera shake can introduce while you press the shutter. Use a remote cable release or intervalometer to trigger your camera shutter remotely. This minimises the risk of introducing vibrations or camera shake, resulting in sharper images. Set up your intervalometer to automate the shooting process, allowing you to focus on composition and adjustments without physically touching the camera. When it comes to shutter speed, follow the classic rule of thumb in photography. Avoid exceeding 1 over your focal length to prevent motion blur. Considering your setup with a tripod and image stabilization, you can push the shutter speed to around 1 or 2 seconds, but be cautious not to compromise image sharpness. Lens aberrations. Optical imperfections such as chromatic aberration, distortion, or vignetting can degrade image sharpness. These aberrations may be more pronounced when using wide apertures or extreme focal lengths, so avoid these configurations depending on your gear. Poor focusing cannot be underestimated. You have the difficulty in achieving precise focus due to the intense brightness of the sun and lack of clear reference points. Autofocus systems may struggle to lock onto the sun, requiring manual adjustment. To help with manual focusing, choose specific focus points. Focus on the edge of the sun, known as the limb, or look for sunspots or areas with high contrast for sharper images. Remember to check focus periodically, especially before and after totality, as temperature fluctuations can affect focus. Prevent accidental focus shifts by using sticky tape or similar methods onto your controls. Okay, now onto aperture. With aperture, you are looking for the sweet spot between the sharpest setting of your lens and achieving the exposure settings you are after. As a starting position, opt for a conservative aperture setting around the lens sweet spot for optimal sharpness. Typically 3 to 4 stops above fully open aperture should suffice. f8 is often a safe bet if you're unsure. It's likely you will end up a few spots higher than this. Steer clear from very small apertures like f22 to minimise diffraction and avoid unwanted starburst effects, particularly during Bailey's beads and the diamond ring phases, if this is what you are looking for. The diamond ring is also a creative decision. For a clean, sharp appearance with less diffraction, use roughly f8 to f11. If you deliberately want a bright spot to produce a pronounced starburst, stop down to f16 or f22. This is not a contradiction. f8 to f11 is the general sharpest recommendation. f16 to f22 is an intentional, creative effect. The smaller the aperture can produce diffraction, but it may produce the starburst that you want. By addressing these factors and implementing the suggested techniques, you can maximise the sharpness of your eclipse images, ensuring they are crisp, detailed, and visually stunning. Accessories. Here are some accessories to consider. Fine control tripod head. Consider using a fluid or geared tripod head for precise control over your camera movements. This type of head allows for smooth and accurate adjustments, crucial for composing your photos during the eclipse. A step up from this is to use an equatorial wedge. By aligning your camera to the Earth's rotation, you will only need to correct one axis as the sun moves across your viewfinder. Sticky tape, useful for securing filters or preventing accidental focus shifts. Pocket knife, handy for various things or just adjusting equipment. An umbrella or hat provides shade and protection from the sun during the long hours of shooting. A white sheet. Now this is used to observe shadow bands, a rare phenomenon that occurs just before and after totality. Honestly, this is difficult for your eyes to adjust to, and you'll be able to see it better on video, or after your eyes have adjusted for totality and totality is ending. Spare batteries and memory cards, ensure you have enough power and storage capacity for the extended shooting sessions. Eye protection, ensure you have approved solar eclipse glasses to protect you from the intensity of the sun's rays. Of course, the obvious requirements of sunscreen and water should be part of anyone's essentials. Documentation. The day will go quickly and it's easy to get overwhelmed. Keep a documented script of the day on what you should be doing at what time as a reference. By ensuring you have the right gear and accessories, as well as taking necessary safety precautions, you'll be well equipped to capture the stunning images of the upcoming solar eclipse. Here are some valuable tips to ensure your capture process goes smoothly. Check date and time settings. Before you start shooting, ensure your camera's date and time settings are accurate. This helps in organising and tracking your images during post-processing, particularly if you use multiple cameras. Mind your camera's limitations. Be mindful of your camera's buffer capacity and memory card speed when shooting continuously. Avoid shooting at faster rates than your camera buffer can handle, or beyond the capacity of your memory card to prevent data loss or missed shots. Consider tethered capture. For advanced users, consider tethering your camera to a computer for a more controlled shooting experience. You'll be able to program all of your exposures, leaving less to chance and give you more time just to look up. Tethered capture also allows you to monitor and adjust camera settings remotely, view images in real time on a larger screen, and streamline the image transfer process. Knowing your limits. Okay, you've gained a lot of knowledge now, but you need to know your limits. When it comes to photographing a solar eclipse, it's crucial to understand your limitations as a photographer and your equipment and work within them. There are typically three types of photographers when it comes to eclipses. Those armed with a phone camera, those wielding a digital SLR, and those ambitious souls with a telescope. Each come with their own set of challenges to consider. Phone camera. Phone cameras are convenient, lightweight, and offer simple point-and-shoot experience. However, they have limitations in terms of zoom capabilities, exposure control, and image quality. While they can capture decent snapshots of the eclipse, they may not provide the level of detail or clarity desired for more professional-looking shots. As such, it's essential to acknowledge the constraints of your phone camera and adjust your expectations accordingly. Digital SLR. Digital SLR cameras offer more control over exposure settings, focus, and lens options, making them a popular choice among eclipse photographers seeking higher quality images. However, they also come with a learning curve and require familiarity with manual settings to achieve optimal results. It's essential to assess your proficiency with your digital SLR gear before the eclipse event, ensuring you're comfortable in navigating its features and settings in real time. Pushing beyond your skill level during such a crucial moment may result in missed opportunities or subpar images. Telescope photography using either a digital SLR or CCD camera. For the most ambitious photographers, using a telescope to capture the eclipse can yield breathtaking close-up views of the sun and moon. However, this approach requires not only advanced knowledge of telescopic equipment, but also considerable logistic challenges due to the bulk and weight of the telescopes. Travelling with a telescope to a remote eclipse viewing location adds complexity and may not be feasible for everyone. Large focal lengths will mean the sun will be moving across your screen at a rapid rate, requiring you to be quite disciplined. Using automated trackers can appear to make things easier, but attempting to align trackers during the daytime is an art. It's crucial to be realistic about your capabilities and resources when considering telescope photography for an eclipse event. In saying this, if you have a telescope rig, it's likely you've been into astrophotography for some time and very proficient in the use and negating these disadvantages. Regardless of your equipment you choose, remember that witnessing the eclipse with your naked eye is an experience like no other. While capturing stunning photos is undoubtedly a goal, don't let the pursuit of the perfect shot overshadow the awe and wonder of the celestial phenomenon unfolding before you. Find a balance between photography and personal observation, knowing when to put the camera down and simply soak in the spectacle with your own eyes. After all, creating lasting memories of the event is just as important as capturing them on film. Composition techniques for eclipse photography. Now let's explore composition techniques for capturing captivating images of the solar eclipse using both wide-angle and telephoto lenses. Here's how you can approach composition to make the most of the celestial event. Wide-angle lens. With a wide-angle lens, you can capture the entire scene, including the landscape and the eclipsed sun in the sky. Consider including interesting foreground elements such as trees, mountains, or landmarks to add depth and context to your eclipse images. Experiment with different compositions and angles to create visual, dynamic, and engaging photos. Shoot at regular intervals, such as every 4 minutes, to capture the progression of the eclipse from the start to finish. This allows you to create a composite image later, showcasing all phases of the eclipse in a single frame. Telephoto lens. A telephoto lens allows you to zoom in and focus on the details of the eclipse, such as the corona and prominences. When choosing a focal length, however, understand that the corona can extend beyond 8 diameters of the sun, so zooming in too much may not produce the best result. It's also worth noting that when you're using a telephoto lens, that the sun will move across the image quite quickly, and therefore a high shutter speed will be required. By experimenting with different lenses, compositions, and techniques, you can capture stunning images of the solar eclipse that showcase the beauty and grandeur. Stay tuned for more tips and tricks to elevate your eclipse photography skills. Assuming you're in Europe for the 2026 eclipse, the surrounding nights are just as interesting. In the pre-dawn sky around August 8, a waning crescent moon passes close to Mars and Mercury, with Jupiter also visible. The Perseid meteor shower peaks on the night of August 12-13, essentially the same night as the eclipse, with minimal moonlight to interfere. I hope this has covered everything you wanted to know. From all of us here, happy shooting, and may your eclipse photography endeavours be filled with wonder and discovery. Until next time, clear skies.